What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? So, Beauty and the Beast,
Kong Skull Island,
Logan,
Episode 8, Last Jedi
The
teaser
best
trailer.
love letters to Hollywood that we have
This
ever
film
seen.
is a masterpiece. So, until the next time, goodbye.
A Quiet Place is directed by John Krasinski, and it tells the story of this family in a post-apocalyptic future in which monsters have taken over the world that react very strongly to sound. So basically, they have to live their entire lives without making a single sound, otherwise they would attract these monsters, and they have to live their lives in the constant danger that they can make a single sound and their lives could immediately be over. So this film, simply from the concept, excited me, and I'd seen trailers and they really excited me too. John Krasinski is mainly known for his comedy from The Office. This is basically like the Get Out equivalent from last year. Jordan Peele wrote and directed that, John Krasinski wrote and directed A Quiet Place. He also stars in it alongside his real-life wife, Emily Blunt, and he proves that as well as being a good actor, he can direct as well. A Quiet Place is a film that luckily follows through on its concept, and it uses the potential from that concept to full effect. The amount of tension that is wrung out of so many scenes in this film is really what carries the film forward. The atmosphere and the sense of dread that is established in the early moments of the film really makes this film special, and it makes it stand out from most other horror films. Simply from the opening scene, I was hooked. The opening scene does a great job, a brilliant job, of setting up the character motivations, the atmosphere, the tone that's going to be set throughout the film, and from that opening scene, I basically knew what I was in for, and I liked what I saw. I say the first act after that opening scene is a bit slow. It's interesting when you get to see how the family actually lived their lives, how they had to adapt to the world that they live in, the way that they had to adjust their life, not using doors, walking with no shoes on, eating with their hands, things like that. But there was a certain point during those moments that I thought, right, can we actually get the actual story starting now? And thankfully, when the story properly did start, when you first get a glimpse of these monsters, A Quiet Place really gets into its stride, and it is great from that point onwards. There are so many fantastic scenes that I can still remember very clearly. The monsters as well. In some films like this, they either don't show the monsters enough, or they show it too much and it loses effect. A Quiet Place reveals the threat of the film at the perfect amount of times, and any time that these monsters were on screen, those scenes were just brilliant, and they lead to some very scary and very surprising scenes that I really loved. All the acting is flawless. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt act like a real-life couple. Their chemistry in real life really shines through in this film. Both of them delivered great performances, especially Emily Blunt. One scene particular in a bath. Apparently they had to do that in one take, and she nailed that in her first take. It's the scene that the poster comes from, and that's one of the best scenes and at least one of the best sequences in the entire film. The two children as well, they also do a great job. Child actors in many films aren't up to par, but these two were great, especially the daughter. In the film, the daughter of Emily Blunt and John Krasinski's characters is deaf, and in real life, the actress playing their daughter is also deaf. So it's just details like that that I really enjoy finding out, because obviously her being deaf in real life added something much more personal to her acting, and the way that they had to direct her on set was really apparent in her acting, because obviously her character can't hear these monsters when they're around her, so that constant sense of panic and her being pretty much oblivious to the threat around her was really interesting to see. The musical score as well also really adds to the emotion of the film. The score alternates between your sort of standard horror film score and also a more emotional part of the score that really hits you, especially in one emotional scene that I cannot spoil, but the film does hit you with an emotional punch. And by the end of the film, I really felt something. I felt like I lived through something with these characters, and the characters are surprisingly fleshed out. Surprising because of the little amount of dialogue that they have, because they can't talk in this world, they have to sign to each other. They do get to speak in a few rare moments, but for the most part, the characters have to sign to each other, and they reveal their characters very well despite the lack of dialogue. The sound design also is great. That's what really makes this film. Without that sound design establishing the atmosphere of the film, the dead silence, I don't think this film would work as well as it did. The sound design is key to this film, and I really like what they did with the sound, cutting between the deaf daughter and the rest of the family, because when it's on her, the sound is completely out because she can't hear anything. So again, it's just the tiny details like that that I really enjoyed with this film. Other than the standout scenes, those tiny details the details that basically shape this world. That's an element that I wasn't really expecting from this film, and one that I really enjoyed. As for flaws, again, I said that the first act was a bit slow, setting up characters, but after that, there was a point when I wanted the action to kick off. Also, there are a few plot holes that normally I wouldn't really pick out during films, but in this film, some are very easy to sort of dissect and talk about with other people afterwards. And thinking about them, they do leave some things to be questioned. So those aspects of the plot, I think, could have been dealt with a bit better in the script. Also, there are one or two false scares, a few standard horror film jump scares, but for the most part, what I thought was great about the film was that it didn't rely too heavily on jump scares, and the really scary thing were those tension-filled scenes that just leave you gripped to your seat. The tension really drives this film, not the jump scares, and that's what makes A Quiet Place an above-average horror film. A Quiet Place is a good film. It's got some flaws, but it's got great performances, some moments of great tension, and a great concept that it really follows through with, and it uses all the potential from that concept to its benefit. I'm going to give A Quiet Place a B+. I'm very happy to see that it's topping the box office right now. I think it's just hit 170 million on a $15-20 million budget. That's great. It's already a box office smash, so it's on course to be the Get Out of this year, because Get Out was a huge sleeper hit. So again, I had a great time with A Quiet Place. I would definitely recommend it. Even if you're not really a horror fan, this is something different that I would still want you to see. But those are my thoughts on A Quiet Place. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. And until the next time, goodbye.